In the boundless expanse where heaven and earth weave their silent laws, legends are not born. They are forged through blood, will, and defiance. In our last journey through recap, Alchemy Emperor of the Divine Dao, chapter 1405-1406, the storm of conflict thickened, and the delicate balance between power and fate began to fracture. Ling Han stands at the crossroads of destiny, his path shadowed by formidable enemies and unseen schemes lurking beneath calm waters. The air grows heavy, as if even the heavens themselves hold their breath, waiting for the next move in this deadly game of cultivation and ambition. Allies may falter, enemies may rise, and truths long buried threaten to surface. What price must be paid to seize control over one's fate? And when the flames of ambition burn too fiercely, who will remain standing in the ashes? Now, let us step once more into this unfolding legend, where every choice cuts deeper than a blade, and every moment brings us closer to the unknown. In the shadowed halls of the chaotic star's majestic empire, tension crackled like lightning. The left minister shifted uneasily, his polished armor reflecting the pale light. Zhao plea, though steeped in grief, was strangely rational. A great general had fallen by the hand of Ling Han, a young cultivator whose prowess had already surpassed what the empire considered the summit of human strength. As the highest-ranking commander present, the left minister could not simply look away. And yet, the thought of facing Ling Han made even his seasoned heart falter. The man had cleaved Zhao Jianbai in a single stroke. To challenge him was to court certain death. Power was everything to the left minister, yet he was not a fool who would sacrifice his life merely for glory. Anger churned in his chest, not at Ling Han, but at his peers, the right minister and the other 5 great generals. Where were they? Had they not arrived yet? No, the bitter truth gnawed at him. They had watched from the shadows, choosing inaction while he bore the burden. They had feigned ignorance, thus covering themselves in plausible deniability, while leaving him to wrestle with the impossible. He ground his teeth in frustration. The empire's strength was too fragile, too concentrated in the hands of a few elite, and now, with the empress and the 9 kings secluded, no one could challenge Ling Han, not even him. Lord Left Minister, please avenge my father. Zhao Lun's voice broke as he knelt, tears glinting like morning dew in his eyes. Grief and ambition intertwined, but the truth of his own heart, whether sorrow or cunning, remained a mystery known only to him. Around them, spectators held their breath, for this was no ordinary confrontation. Ling Han's strength radiated like the sun, and none dared intervene. Jing Wushui and the others stood in silent rue, memories of their once junior brother now overshadowed by the vast chasm of power. Ling Han had ascended to the heavenly body tier, while they remained at the mountain river tier's consummate stage, human yet incomparable. The left minister drew a slow, trembling breath. The empire had suffered a grievous loss, and though his pride screamed for caution, duty demanded action. Ling Han. His voice wavered, heavy with the weight of impossible choices. Yet before he could act, a commanding presence swept into the scene. A sharp cry rang out, and there she stood. A woman of indomitable spirit, her crimson cloak billowing like a river of fire, armor gleaming with authority. Qiu Chushui, the great commander of the Imperial Guards, had arrived. Her appearance alone calmed the left minister's storm of fear. In battle, her strength eclipsed even his, and she could call upon the Empire's martial formations in defense of the palace. The right minister and the other generals were mere shadows beside her. Lady Qiu, Ling Han greeted with measured respect, a slight bow betraying his acknowledgement of her formidable reputation. Qiu Shui's eyes, sharp and unwavering, studied him. You have reached the heavenly body tier, standing now as my equal. The title of lady is no longer yours to wield over me. Tell me, have you come to flaunt your strength in our empire? Her voice carried both warning and curiosity. Ling Han shook his head calmly. I seek no grand display. My intention was only to meet Her Majesty, but with her seclusion, I lingered. I did not foresee the calamities that followed. His tone was neutral, yet beneath it flowed the quiet certainty of one who had mastered himself. Qiu Chui's gaze softened slightly, though the gravity of Zhao Jianbai's death could not be ignored. You have slain a great general. Such an act carries weight far beyond these walls. When the Empress emerges from her isolation, the consequences will be addressed. Ling Han inclined his head, unfazed. He owed nothing to the Empress. Zhao Janbai's provocation had sealed his fate. Zhao Lun, recognizing the futility of others intervening, began to retreat, understanding that Ling Han's justice would spare no rival. But before he could flee, Ling Han's calm voice brushed past his ear, an invisible hand lifting him from the ground as if he were weightless. Ling Han! Qiu Choshui's eyes flared with righteous anger. To her, the young man's actions bordered on transgression. Killing a great general was one matter, but now he toyed with life itself. At that moment, the heavenly phoenix Divine Maiden struck the air, only to be repelled. While Sha Jing hovered with pride, confident in his superior cultivation, empowered further by the nation's aura. But his confidence shattered when his gaze fell upon Zhao Janbai's body. Halved, lifeless, shock rooted him in place. It was impossible for the left minister or Qiu Chushui to have accomplished such a feat. There was only one plausible hand behind this act, Ling Han's. A storm of realization swept through Sha Jing. The young man he had underestimated, the one he believed to be concealing his power, had surpassed him entirely. Trembling, the weight of mortal fear washed over him. His back glistened with sweat, heart pounding against the confines of flesh. Ling Han, ever composed, turned to the heavenly phoenix Divine Maiden. Despite blood staining her lips and body, her spirit remained unbroken. I lost, she admitted softly, a flicker of pride amidst defeat. Ling Han's smile was gentle, yet resolute. No, you remember incorrectly. Victory was yours, he reassured, extending his hand over Sha Jing. With the weight of the skies pressing down, he subdued the heavenly body tier cultivator with effortless power. Shockwaves tore the ground as Sha Jing was thrown into ruin, a testament to Ling Han's overwhelming strength. Qiu Chui's fingers twitched, restrained by the absence of true malice in Ling Han's demeanor. Yet even without lethal intent, the young man's mastery was absolute. Ling Han withdrew, his expression serene. See, my wife, he has suffered far more than you. Truly, this confirms your victory. The audacity of such words left onlookers staggered. Ling Han, however, was not finished. Turning to Sha Jing, his eyes glinted with relentless determination, the aura of unyielding martial resolve radiating outward. Brother Sha, by whom were you bested? The question carried the weight of inevitable reckoning, his voice sharp as a blade. Sha Jing, cornered and humbled, clenched his fists, and in the quietest of tones confessed, by her. The Empire's courtyard fell silent, the echoes of power, honor, and human ambition intertwining in the midday air. Here, under the watchful skies, the legend of Ling Han's might and the ferocity of the wuxia world would once more be written into the annals of history. The air was thick with tension, yet an unexpected calm settled over the courtyard as Ling Han's gaze turned toward the heavenly phoenix Divine Maiden. See, wife, even he himself admits you are the culprit, he said with an almost playful calm, and in that instant, every ounce of his killing intent dissolved like morning mist under the sun. The scene drew a hush over the onlookers, a collective pause in their very breath. What strange world was this, where a great elite of the heavenly body tier could be reduced to silence, unwilling to even name the one who had struck him? Disbelief and awe mingled in the eyes of those gathered. Ling Han's audacity and power had risen to such a peak that mere words of accusation were unnecessary. And yet, in this display, many women found their hearts stirred. Here was a man of incomparable strength, yet tender and protective, a combination that made one's pulse quicken. The heavenly phoenix Divine Maiden could not help but let out a small, embarrassed laugh. Her hand found Ling Han's back in a light, affectionate slap, and her smile radiated warmth. To the world, Ling Han seemed unreasonable, overbearing, and even deceptive. But to her, this was the epitome of care and gentleness, a shield of kindness draped over his formidable presence. Brother Sha, go on and tend to your wounds, Ling Han said with a flick of his hand. Instantly, Sha Jing was hurled away, unscathed yet thoroughly humiliated. Even after Sha Yuan's death, Ling Han bore no personal grudge toward Sha Jing, his fairness and strength extending only as far as the situation required. With Qiu Choshui present, courtesy and face had to be observed, even amidst the chaos. Sha Jing lowered his head, retreating without a word. The great general's stature seemed diminished, his pride crushed beneath the weight of Ling Han's serene yet inexorable might. Zhao Lun's heart trembled. realizing that even the great general could be reduced to silence. If this was the fate of such a figure, what hope remained for him? Ling Han's voice cut through the tension, calm but laced with undeniable authority. Zhao Lun, I have never feared competition, yet you have repeatedly aimed to end me, sending others to do your bidding and confronting me yourself, believing your strength superior. Now the scales have shifted. My cultivation surpasses yours, and I shall act as the bully, but a single way out remains. If you can block 3 of my strikes, your life shall be spared. The word struck Zhao Lun like a whip. 3 strikes? Against him? Impossible. The thought raced through his mind. Even his father could not withstand 1 blow from Ling Han, and yet the challenge was for 3. This was no escape. It was a cruel illusion of mercy. Ling Han's hand coalesced into a fist, and with a simple motion, Zhao Lun's body was kneaded with the strength of the Sun Moon Tear. Blood and flesh quivered under the pressure. Yet no shockwave escaped. His form, his very spirit was obliterated. Xiang Chengyun, who had thought himself cunning, now turned from pale to green to a shade of dread darkness, realizing that every participant in this chaos would be called to account. All of this had begun with his own petty ambition for a private room, a seed of hubris that now bore catastrophic fruit. Lord Left Minister, save me! Save me! Xiang Chengyun's cries tore through the courtyard as he forced his broken bones into fragile stability using his origin power. He flung himself at the feet of the Left Minister, kowtowing with such fervor it seemed he might shatter his own body. The Left Minister, though present at the death of a heavenly body tier, remained unaware of Xiang Chengyun's instigation. He waved the supplicant away, his mind still clinging to reason. How could someone of the Mountain River tier provoke such devastation? Ling Han's gaze, serene yet commanding, seemed to silence even the minister's questions. Ling Han's words flowed smoothly, almost casual. The Left Minister is truly one to empathize with his subordinates. His compliment, calm and deliberate, caused the Left Minister's pride to swell. In the past, such words from any other might have incited anger. But now, faced with the proof of Ling Han's unmatched power, even the high and mighty felt their place in the world shift. And Brother Xiang, Ling Han continued, his tone measured, your boldness is remarkable. First insisting we move so you could claim the private room, and then daring ask my wife to share a drink with you. The courtyard seemed to contract under the weight of his words, and the Left Minister, as if struck by a blow, felt every fiber of his being vibrate with suppressed fury. Xiang Chengyun trembled, caught between awe and terror, his defiance utterly crushed. The Left Minister's restrained rage snapped into a violent tempest. Xiang Chengyun, once puffed with ambition, was now reduced to a quivering, desperate figure, pleading for mercy that would not come. Blow after blow fell, and in the end, Xiang Chengyun lay still, silenced by the very hand meant to protect him. His rise and fall had both been determined by the whims of those stronger than he. A harsh lesson in humility and the law of the martial world. All around, eyes turned toward Ling Han with reverence. His presence alone overshadowed the ministers, generals, and any semblance of local power. None among the 9 kings could restrain him, and even his own companions, though honored with alchemical gifts and words of counsel, dared not speak without utmost care. Ling Han ensured the heavenly Phoenix Divine Maiden and the others were safely lodged in an inn before setting off for the Scarlet Heaven Academy. His journey was unhindered. No adversary present could challenge his supreme cultivation. Soon, he arrived at the Academy's library, where Old Man Shu remained as ever, seated serenely with eyes closed, immersed in the quietude of his study, a calm sanctuary amid the storm Ling Han had just unleashed.